Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Clelia Lima, nurse practitioner. Um, nice to see you for our Q&A Tuesday. Today, we're going to be talking about flu versus COVID symptoms and also how to protect yourself and your family for the holidays. It's very exciting to connect with you every Tuesday and talk about different health topics and to get your questions and answer them the best I can, and just to connect with you. So many people ask. What are the differences and what are the common symptoms um, of COVID and flu? So basically, the symptoms were very very similar symptoms. Both COVID and the flu, the influenza virus, they are respiratory virus. And as respiratory virus, they have similar symptoms: runny nose, sore throat, cough, fever. Sometimes people have diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, body aches is very common, headaches. It's just fatigue, feeling tired, and all of that. So the symptoms are very similar. What you see more in COVID than flu is the loss of smell and taste. It could happen with the flu as well, but it's not very common. You see people losing the sense of taste and smell more with COVID. The other thing that they are very different is the time that you feel the symptoms. Usually the flu, you get over the symptoms in about 5 days, 10 days at most. The COVID, you can have symptoms for 2 weeks, sometimes months. And you have the long haulers that they just keep, having symptoms over and over again. And sometimes even the positive test, for a long time. So very similar with very different consequences. So when you think about the best protection, vaccination. And we know the flu vaccine is being available for many years. And you need to have the flu vaccine every year. Why every year? Because virus, they mutate. That's how they behave. They're very smart. So the virus just change their composition, and they have different ways to get around the vaccine for the flu that we have every year is a different vaccine. So the way the flu vaccine works is that every year they see the kind of viruses, have the influenza A, B, and they have um, uh, different ways to it's like you foresee what is going to be the next year virus, and then you make the vaccine to combat that kind of virus. So the same thing with COVID. We have heard about COVID mutation and the different strains, and you have all the variants, and that's why the vaccine is more protective than the natural immunity when the person has the disease. So if you have had COVID, you still need to have the vaccine, because your protection it's better when you have the vaccine, and you produce your antibodies. And the vaccines, the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson and Johnson, they are all effective for most of the variants. The natural immunity, not as much. So some people are very, against the vaccine, very polarized, opinions about the vaccine, but that's the best we have right now. So I would recommend that you take your vaccine and the booster if you are eligible for one. So the recommendation for the booster, if you took the vaccine, the Moderna and the Pfizer, and it has been 6 months, you can have the booster. If you took the Johnson and Johnson, in 2 months, you can have the booster. So my personal recommendation is, if you took the Johnson and Johnson, to get a booster with the Moderna or Pfizer, because the Johnson and Johnson lose the effectiveness faster than Moderna and Pfizer. I took the Moderna 2 doses. So I took my booster with the same Moderna because from the studies I have read, is the most the longer effectiveness. But the recommendation is you can choose. You can have the booster with a different vaccine than the one you initially took the first doses. So it's available out there. I highly recommend that you take a vaccine or the booster if you're already eligible, and that's the best protection. And now with the flu season coming up, we just knocking at the door of the winter. Just make sure you get your flu shot as well. In the other group, I had a question about, can you take how long to wait between one vaccine and the other? And actually, you can take the flu vaccine and the COVID vaccine the same day. Just ping ping, done with both of them. You can have both vaccines together. It's not in the same dose, but 2 shots the same day. So I highly recommend that you have your vaccine and protect yourself and your family. We have a few questions already here, so let's go ahead. Natalia is asking, how much more contagious is COVID versus the flu if I'm vaccinated for both and I'm around people who are not vaccinated for either? All right, so that's a very good question. And actually, it's a two-part answer. The flu and the COVID, they are both very contagious. The COVID is more contagious because the way that the communication of the how you get contaminated, it will have consequences that are long term. So both the flu and the I'm getting tripped here. The flu and the COVID, they're both highly contagious. When you are around people that are not vaccinated, you can have contamination even if you are vaccinated, because the vaccine is not 100%. So you can be contaminated by the people who are not vaccinated. And also, even being vaccinated, you can get them contaminated, because you can be contagious, because the vaccine is not 100%, but they can contaminate you as well. So I would recommend that you use caution if you are around people not vaccinated, and then you're going to protect yourself and them as well. Christopher is asking, should pregnant individuals, you mean women, right, get the booster, or should they wait until the baby's born? Very good question. So at first, was not much study about pregnancy and the vaccine, but very early on, it was recommended for the pregnant women to get vaccinated. And we had the second wave, and it was like very, very heartbreaking to see pregnant women admitted to the hospital, sometimes in the ventilator. Very, very sad consequences. So as far as the booster, if you are eligible for the booster, you can get it. Now, this is a very personal decision, because if you are not exposed, if you are close to give birth, and you don't want to get any side effects from the vaccine, because some people may have some side effects, you can choose to wait, but it's not contraindicated. You can have the booster being pregnant. You have a bunch of questions here. Orlando upper cervical. Oh, is it Frank? Is it? Maybe. Okay, so Tyrone is asking, they started vaccinating and within 4 months had an outbreak of 350 cases of polio. Vera Weber, PhD, citing the Pediatrics Infectious Disease Journal, 1991, on the polio vaccine in South American. She advocates injecting neonates with aluminum caterpillar polyimidazole. COVID is a mild to moderate virus, according to the WHO. The producers of this vaccine know they are, but they go, okay. Tyrone, I see that you have some opinion about the vaccine, and that's good. I like to hear different opinions, and that's one of the things that the other group asked. How do you deal with people that don't want to get vaccinated and their family members, and you're going to be around them for the holidays? So I really appreciate your comment, Tyrone. And this is the heart of the whole discussion about COVID and how to get protection, because many people have misinformation. Vaccines are safer than getting COVID. If you go risk benefit, and this is medicine is always risk benefit. If you read contraindication of an aspirin, you don't take it. If you read a contraindication of Tylenol, Aleve, over-the-counter medication, if you read all the possible contraindications, the possible side effects, you just don't take anything, because it's possible that you may have something, even die. But then you go risk benefit. And I really appreciate all the comments from Tyrone, and all the journal about and the reference you have written there. It's exactly that. You can get research bias in research that is not even peer reviewed, the research that has all kinds of flaws, and then you say this is what it is. And the most difficult thing about misinformation, they come from people that should have authority: physicians, nurse practitioners, all people that say, this is the people that I listen to, this is my doctor. And sometimes they have opinions, sometimes political. It's very polarized, the whole thing about COVID. So it's heartbreaking to see how much misinformation and quoting things that are not scientific, that doesn't have any base, and then people just make decisions that are not the best for them. So in the United States, with the availability of the vaccines that we have, we could be in a much better position for these holidays. So much better, because we could be 70%, 80%, vaccinated and better protected, and we are not, because of Tyrone, you mentioning that, and many other people, they are just with information that could be very questionable. And it's my responsibility as a healthcare professional to inform what is science. Science is not 100%. Medicine is not 100%, but we're going to do what is the best available treatment. And for now, the best available treatment for COVID is the vaccine. And there is no way to say anything different. For COVID is the vaccine. If you should be eligible for the booster, get it too. And then all the other precautions, right? Wear your mask. If you are exposed to big crowds or the people around you, make sure that you get your own hand sanitizer if you're traveling. Wash your hands as much as you can, and maintain your immune system up. Just eat your fruits and vegetables, good sleep, good exercise, good hydration. So all of those things are very helpful for your body to be strong enough to fight off any viruses, and now the flu and the COVID together for the winter. Natalia has another question. Should vaccinated family members still wear a mask around my newborn? So you around a newborn baby. That's a very, very good question. And again, it's very personal. If you think about it, when you have a newborn in the hospital, you have all the protections for the newborn, right? Because it's a very fragile new life. Not have any vaccines yet. If the baby's breastfed, he start getting all the antibodies from the mother, and that get some protection. It's not wrong to have mask, to have family members mask up to hold your baby if you think that's the best thing to do. But usually people don't, because as a family member and you trust them, where they are, if they have been exposed. And then it comes a consciousness. If I know I have a fever, if I know I'm coughing, if I know I have a runny nose, or anything that could be that I would be contaminating the baby, I'm not even going to go visit a newborn. So hopefully, family would be very cautious and very conscious about not bringing any, bugs to the new baby if they're not feeling well. But if they are healthy, if they're doing well, if they, usually people don't get that kind of a restriction with masks. But again, it's up to you, the new mom. If you decide that you want people with a gown, with a mask, you can do that too. Yeah, so it has a lot to do with who are vaccinated and who are not vaccinated. And even the vaccinated people, how they behave. Some people are just, going out there to concert, big crowds, and just not being mindful about the people they don't know if they are vaccinated or even if they are sick. So you might be more cautious around those people. But overall, with the holidays coming up now, for us here, we have Thanksgiving the day after tomorrow. We want to have a good celebration with our families. As we know, good connections, good emotional and strong connections has a lot to do with a strong immune system. So not only eating well, sleeping well, hydrating well, exercise, good connections. Actually, this is one of the top for good health, is to have good emotional support, emotional connections. So if we're going to have a holidays and celebration with families, have Thanksgiving, so much to be thankful for. You want to be around people, you want to be happy. But if you're around family members that are not vaccinated, just have an open mind, an open heart, and compassion. Um, Even though we might have different opinions and different behaviors, we still want to keep the relationship. We still want to love each other. So just put your boundaries. If you decide that you keep a mask on, when you're around them. Naturally, we're talking about celebrations and holidays, you're talking about food, and people gonna take a mask off to eat naturally. So in the South, now we are in Orlando now, we always have an advantage to have, celebration outside. You can have, outside celebration and be better protected. But overall, enjoy your families, because last year was so hard to be away, to have virtual celebrations, that now we want to be connected close by and just enjoy each other. So no matter the differences, just keep your heart full of love, full of good vibrations, and enjoy each other, because we don't know if we have tomorrow. We have today, and that's the most precious thing we have, is to be, you know, connected in spirit and with good vibrations, and just, enjoying each other. So COVID, has changed a lot of things we have done in our lives. Cold and flu together is not a good combination, but we have tools, we have resources that we can tap on, and just be safe and enjoy the holidays, and just be good to each other, and have a good end of the year, better than last year. So I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you for connecting. Every Tuesday, we're going to be here doing the Q&A. Every week is a different topic, but all related to health. And you can ask different things not related to the topic as well. And if you have other questions, you can always text, and I'll be happy to answer the best I can. And I hope to see you next week again. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I see you next week. Take care.